Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Disruptive Tech Innovation. My name is Adam, and today I'm going to try my best at the third episode here to try to stick to the 8 to 10 minutes. My last couple videos, my first and my second, were in the 20 to 30 minute range and so forth. So this time I'm going to try to put a little timer here and not take so much time. Also, I did also get a new microphone, and we're going to go straight to that. I had seen Marques Brownlee's this video here. While it was quite a while ago, I went ahead and grabbed that same microphone, different color, but feel free to add some comments down the bottom if you think this is better than the others, and obviously we'll stick with this if so. And also, of course, please like, subscribe, and share, and again, comment as necessary. So we also have, as I mentioned the first time, our YouTube page. Our Facebook page, and again, the methodology here is I'm just going to do these videos. Not do any editing, just one shot and post them. And that gets me right into one of the first things I wanted to chat about, which was, here we go again. This was a good article that Sean and Rob did. Not only is it, of course, as you can see, some pretty in-depth about Tesla, the Cybertruck Model Y. Really good content here. Rob is outstanding. Sean is outstanding, both guys. And a lot of these guys are doing a lot of these type of collaboration type of things. But one of the things I wanted to talk about is, as Rob was explaining a little bit of his history, it really it hit home with me as well. Again, he's talking about how he got started. Really highly recommend you watch that. And sort of it's, again, where I get started, where a lot of my friends have asked me a lot of different things around Tesla mostly, but also the different cryptocurrencies, and even a little bit in artificial intelligence. And that's why, again, those three areas, why I'm strongly interested, because I think not only are those very disruptive areas, but also I really think that those three together will sort of converge or merge or whatever into the most profitable, but also the most capable type of scenarios for disruption. The last episode we talked about the history of disruptive technologies, and the definition was really along the lines of smaller companies disrupting larger companies. But I think over time that definition will continue to really converge around just companies in general disrupting industries. And again, these are the areas I'm most focused on, Tesla related, as well as artificial intelligence and blockchain. So also with this video that they talked about, Rob was articulating his history, and it just, as he was talking about, these guys were talking about, and of course I've heard many of these YouTubers, a lot of them full-timers. Again, for me, I have a regular full-time job. I look at this as giving summary type of news information, summarizing what a lot of these YouTubers and websites and so forth, but a lot of the information. And these people put a lot of time into these videos. So when you watch and take the time to watch their videos and learn from them, I really would like to encourage that you do like, share, subscribe, because again, they put a lot of work into these guys. Rob was talking about how he puts a lot of work in every single day. It's his full-time job, and I've heard that from many of these guys. And so another point I wanted to make, excuse me, is I have a lot of Apple TVs in my house for myself and my kids. And we, while you're watching a channel on YouTube, it might take 5 or 6 more seconds than it would on your phone or on the computer to just click that, that like or whatever. So obviously it just takes a second here. But on your Apple TV, you have to scroll and move the thing around or whatever. It's kind of a little bit of a pain. I wish Apple would, make that a lot easier. But, if you would take those few extra seconds, these guys put hours into these videos, and Sean does, he does a lot more than that. So please, support these guys and take the time to do that. Okay, so let's go into a little bit of quick update on ARK-Invest. If you watch some of my other last two episodes, I highly respect ARK-Invest and all the things that they're all about. Again, they're focused on everything around disruption, and it goes broader than where my interests are. Again, they do things like medical and other things. I like some of the 3D printing they talk about and all that, but I don't really focus there. But here was the video that they did with their webinar, which was their sort of quarterly, not earnings, but quarterly summary of the industries that they focus on. So I highly recommend you go there. And again, they have a lot of other webinars and so forth that they do. They just had one this week. I missed that due to a lot of work going on at my regular job, but I highly recommend you guys watch that. Okay, so on the global front, just for this week, there's a lot of concern around the coronavirus, which is like SARS. There's a lot going on still with the impeachment. A lot of mixed market this week. We have earnings season coming up here, so the market's been up and down a little bit, mostly up, but things like Tesla, as you can see, this was their all-time high right here this week. And Wednesday was where they hit 594. They've pulled back a little bit. Again, I think there's been quite a bit of news. Some of these articles on Yahoo Finance sort of talks a little bit about them, the virus this week. So China and everywhere else globally. So there's been a lot going on to kind of pull things back. But there's also things that discussions around what's been helping, of course, the short sellers and so forth as well. And very nicely, Jeremy here over at Financial Education. Again, he has two channels, Financial Education and Financial Education 2. So I highly recommend you follow those. And in particular, a lot of the folks this week have talked a lot about what what Musk is making this week, because as you see, they hit over 100 billion in market cap. That put them in number 2. They just got above I think VW, so I think maybe Toyota has them still, so they're not too far behind them. But so they'll definitely get there. So there's been a lot of talk about some of those numbers around once that that Tesla hit 100 billion in market cap. A lot of them talked about the money that Tusk is making based on the contracts they have. But Jeremy did a great job in talking about how he's made over 12 billion or about 12 billion in the last 90 days and everything he's been doing. So, and he kind of jokes about how everybody's focused on the hundreds of millions he's making due to just Tesla, but he's saying look at everything as a whole, which is a great story. Another thing, as I touched on, it's earnings season right now, and so January 29th this week is Tesla's earnings call, and the consensus is about $1.72 per share by the analysts, but as we all know, most of them are clueless, so we think this should be a lot higher. Jeremy's done some talks about that this week. And Rob has done a lot of really, really deep analysis on that this week. Really, really good information. Highly recommend you follow a bunch of these. He's done a really, really in-depth, as well as the market is open. He's done another outstanding analysis on some of the estimates for this coming week. So highly recommend you watch those. And again, I'm all about trying to summarize a lot of what these guys are talking about during the week or month or whatever it happens to be. I don't necessarily always want to give all the details, because I really like to encourage that you watch these thoroughly. I'm just summarizing on what a lot of them have talked about, and then you can go to their channel, which again I link in every one of my channels episodes. You go to their links and then watch that video, watch there's, these videos here, this one in particular, and so forth, based on these two, what I'm talking about. So again, these guys do an outstanding job, really deep, really good information. I don't want to ruin the details of what they talk about. To me, it's exciting. So I highly encourage that you watch those. And then also a couple of them had talked about this week about there was the National Highway Board that turns out there was a concern that some of the cars from Tesla were having the automatic acceleration. Here's one of the discussions here. And as it turns out, one of the corrupt short sellers, Mr. Sparks, he's the one who actually put in all that. So there was all this news that everybody was concerned, oh no, Tesla cars are accelerating. Meanwhile, of course, every other car in the world has had these kind of problems, but all the negative news about Tesla. And in the end, of course, Tesla can monitor and go back into the cars, pull the data, and they find 100% that they have two sensors on the pedal, and the person actually has to step on the pedal, of course, for it to accelerate. 0 cars accelerate on their own. And then on top of it, when they found out that it was Sparks was behind all this, Mr. Corrupt Sparks. So that's where that all came. So good thing Tesla's finally fighting back on some of this. All right, so we talked about some of this as well. Another story I'd like to highlight this week that Kim did a really, really good story articulating the used Tesla market. Highly encourage that you watch that. Really good details if you're in the market for a used Tesla. She was talking about it with a sponsor as well, but there's also others out there that I put some notes into that. Which what I found is not only did she do a really good story articulating the details about the different used cars and what to look for, and a lot of really, really good info, but I also ended up finding out that 0 Model 3 cars in the used car market, at least on the Tesla side anyway, are available. If you went to the CPO Hunter website, you would find out that if you clicked on and tried to buy a used Model 3, 0 are available. That's really good news because that just shows the massive demand for those cars. All right, so I also touched on some of the stuff around last week around Model Y. Ryan here has been doing a really, really good job articulating a lot of details about the Model Y, the back, everything from the back seat to the expected delivery dates and so forth. So I highly encourage you watch these. He's pretty new, started this channel very recently. He's doing a great job and really good information. So if you're in the market for Model Y, watch these pages, these videos. And let me look. Rob has done some as well, as you can see here, some really good stories too. All right, and you all heard me, I think if you watched my last video last week, I mentioned these corrupt traders all shorting Tesla over the years. These are the 4 worst. So if you want to learn more about it, the Market is Open did a great story here, and my thing is I want to do a story on these guys helped me in a way because I allowed selfishly the price to stay down on the stock market for Tesla, and that allowed me time to get in, which I'm grateful for, just before the stock really took off. So on one hand, I don't like them, of course, because they think they're corrupt in what they've been doing. On the other hand, I think they helped a lot of people, get in the market. And I think now they'll start losing hundreds of millions of dollars, if many of them have already. So good for them for what they've done. All right, just a little silly thing there. Now here's a little thing about the short sellers. This is a little old, from 2018, but again, I'll have the link in here. It's a really good story. Andrew Left, the guy on the right, he's really turned around from this story. Now, I haven't done any research lately on where he is now. I suspect from the confidence level of his turnaround that he's probably still doing well. So if I'm wrong, feel free to add some comments to this video. Feel free to let me know. But I thought this was really good information because he was able to really articulate. And at the time, the Shark Tank investor here, or not even an actor, but investor, he was pretty negative, as most of the CNBC people. But he seems to be, I think, of late turning around. I think I've seen some of his videos lately. All right, so now let's talk. All right, that's a little bit on the Bitcoin and so forth in a minute. So let's stick with, now let's get into the AI piece. So you can see here Lex has done a couple videos this week, and again, I've talked about him in the past where he's just outstanding. Highly recommend you watch these. And you might recall from my last video as well, I'd mentioned how I would typically go into a particular video and click on that, and then talk about some of the just high level information. But instead, I'm given this format where I'm just going to try to stick to the pages and mention a little bit about some of these videos. So very good a lot of good detail on these videos. You want to learn anything about AI, Lex is outstanding at these interviews and his own information. And a week or so back, I did give a little more details on one of these and some of his analysis about Tesla in particular, which I agreed with about 99% of it. So he's just really outstanding. So here's a video I came across, which, again, doing some more research this week for my regular job, my daily job, but a lot of this, kind of helps out, but back and forth. But here's a really good video. I was pretty surprised, a lot of information on Google. He gives a lot of, details about, a lot of small things that you just wouldn't know or wouldn't expect, all the way to a lot of the AI stuff. That's pretty fascinating. So really good information there. And if you can get past, I guess, the voice in this one, just to be joking, but his another kind of top 10 on AI for the future, mostly 2020. Some of this, we've kind of summarized from some other videos, but still some pretty good information. And again, some of this for me, for what I do on my daily job, this is also helping me. So pretty good information. They go through all the 10 along the way, and give some pretty good summary type of information. So good details there. One thing I wanted to touch here is, I'm sure many of you know, Lou here. What's going on there? Lou here. And again, if you recall from my other videos, I don't, I keep this Chrome page for this channel and doing these videos. I run Apple. I use Safari all the time. So on my Safari, for my personal account, I have YouTube Premium, and therefore I don't have to pay for channels. But when for commercials, but when I use this in my Disruptive Tech Innovation account, then I have to pay. We have to watch all these commercials. So that's why I just have all these paused. But anyway, Lou did a really good job here. Let's see. Hopefully it won't go to commercial. Great. He talks about this these AI type contact lenses, which there's a lot. You've heard a lot about Apple with their glasses, Google with their glasses, some of the others, and this is a pretty fascinating. It's really literally like a contact lens. They show it in one of the clips here along the way. If you can see sort of here it is right here. You can see the little chips and everything, and then of course they color after that. This is just amazing, fascinating information. Highly recommend you watch this to get a lot more. It's just amazing, some of this the technologies out there. I think I've touched on this maybe one of the last videos, but updates here. This is just a great page for anything AI related. Highly recommend. It's theedge.org, and just a lot of detailed information. There's always something new here, so a lot of good information here. All right, let's get into blockchain. Here's the latest updates on Bitcoin. So this week, I think in the video last week, I can't remember exactly what the numbers were, but the Bitcoin ended up around 91.56, roughly, plus or minus. They've since pulled back. Midweek, they were in the 8300s. And over the last couple of days, pulling up to about 8,600. I think that's every bit about the coronavirus. That's just my guess anyway. I haven't seen a lot lately talked about it. Just, there have been bits and pieces a little bit, maybe a little speculation on the first day or so. And then there's a real lot of chatter. It seems that there's a lot of things picking up globally around central banking. Countries now starting to express some interest in cryptocurrency or digital assets. Of course, Bitcoin mostly, but a lot of them around a lot of the others, XRP and pretty much all of them. Or I guess you could say the top ones, right up here, Ethereum, XRP, Cash, and all these. So a lot of chat around that. A lot of countries are starting to put some laws together or investigate. Some of the different types of countries, whether it be more communist or whatever, are further ahead than others. But at least, for example, there's some talk this week of United States really getting into the game here. And so let's see. So one of my go-to here is Digital Asset News. He talks a lot about this. He talks a lot about in general, but of course he does, as you can see, a little bit about XRP. He's not afraid to talk about what he invests. In fact, every video he seems to explain, hey, these are the 6 that I invest in. And definitely, of course, XRP is in there. But so there's a lot of talk about that. I think he's the one who's doing a lot of the updates on where these global governments are going with this. As a reminder from the last episode, he also is trying to drive this story with the scams out there. So again, I will put this link in this video in the description. But I highly encourage everybody, if you could just grab this link, cut and paste it up in your browser somewhere, up in your bookmarks or whatever, and just try to click on that every day, a couple days or whatever, and then just click on any of these links. Check it out, see if it's been missing. He shows you here whether it's been removed or not, and just help out. If everybody can every day, every other day, every couple of days, whatever, just help this out. This will help the cryptocurrency industry to help get rid of some of these scanners. And he articulates in every one of his videos, what he does here. And so if we can all help, that'd be great. All right, so let's see. And there's a lot of talk too around the Ripple IPO. A lot of things Ripple's doing, a lot of difference between Ripple and XRP, Ripple being the company, XRP being the cryptocurrency. So a lot of these guys have been talking about this a lot as well. So I highly encourage a lot of that. And he in particular is of the mind that, he's kind of sort of putting XRP or Ripple, I should say in particular, here I go, kind of comparing with Amazon, as Ripple is Ripple the Amazon of the industry. He also talks about where the stock was and the growth and take your time and all that. So highly recommend you watch all these as well. A lot of good information. This is good info here today for the first time, only a couple hours ago, about the coronavirus here. So that's good info as well. Okay, so also I want to touch on too, I'll put this link in here. A lot of these channels, so DIY investing, I've talked about him, and digital assets. Some of these guys, as you get on there, if you do have the channel, now I don't, again, because I watch everything on my Apple TV, on my Safari, and of course on my phone, I don't get these commercials. But today, because I was doing some of this, moving some of these videos over here, I actually saw a commercial for some of these guys, both DIY investing and digital asset news and some of the others. And there's a commercial along the lines of this Lolly app, which basically in the commercial, that's CNBC interviewing the Lolly founder, and he talks about it as being sort of it's almost like the Honey app or some of the others, where whenever you shop, well, similar to Honey anyway, in that it's an app that you could hook up to your browser here, but similar to the other apps where whenever you shop, it gives you points, and instead of the points that you can get in for maybe to go to buy something from that the collection of the points or whatever, instead you're collecting Bitcoin. So this is a really good opportunity here. Now, of course, you're getting pennies. You're getting a couple dollars, 3 to 5% or so for every everything you spend, which then gets converted to the equivalent Bitcoin, which is obviously very tiny bits of it. But of course, over time, he articulates how over time it's like dollar cost averaging. So here's my link. If you want to grab this, click on the link here. That would then help yourself and myself. We both, and then you pass that along for everybody else. So I highly encourage you to check this out. And you'll see there's just all kinds of stores. And obviously I'm at zero because I literally just downloaded this about 2 hours ago. So it's the founder was talking about they have a lot of travel in here that they just announced. I think he said Expedia. So that should either be in here any day now if it's not already. But basically, of course, you go in here, you click on any of these, you shop. Every time you shop, you got this little icon, I guess, or one of these icons that will help you gain those points. You put it in your Lolly wallet, and then from there you keep adding on. Great opportunity here, I think, anyway, for everybody. I wanted to back up a little bit on this article. I can't recall if I touched on this last week, but I don't think so. I think this was pretty new yet. It might have been. Anyway, they talk about how all the futures for the year, but in particular on the hard skills, Bitcoin was never here, but now they are. Cloud computing, I believe, was first, last. All of these bumped down a little bit, and now blockchain, excuse me, is number one. So it just goes to show a lot of the interest where things are going. So this is great news as well. And I think I had one last quick little story. So I did want to touch on here. So I've mentioned this channel several times before, DIY investing. He seems to do several per week, just super in-depth analysis. You pick a currency. This week he's always talking about all of them. Obviously, always the major ones. And here he talked about a very unique, interesting one, which was pretty good information. Always Ether, Bitcoin, XRP, whatever. But so I will go ahead and just click on. Well, this one was a podcast where he joined with Moonboy as the podcast. But let's just say let's click on this one here. Let's deal with the commercial, I guess. Oh no, all right, cool. We didn't have to. So here's example of his analysis. He's just amazing with these charts and everything. This one here, he happens to be talking about which altcoin. I can't quite tell. But just showing the charts. This here chart is what's called the Fibonacci. I hope I said that right. But he just does really deep analysis on all the charting, and he talks about where he thinks things are going and growing, and he talks about the channels and everything. Brilliant guy, amazing, really deep. Highly recommend you follow this guy. Watch a lot of what he's talking about. Let's hope I don't lose. Okay, cool. So he has a real lot of good information here. So definitely follow him and see what he has to say. A lot of good information here. And lastly, again, another kind of old, but I came across this video here. Gave a really, really in-depth, if anybody wants to learn a little bit more in-depth about what it is. This channel also does a lot, now that I'm following it, on my Safari. But now that I follow it, now I'm getting all these things on calculus and all that, and I went to college and took calculus, so I'm actually kind of looking at some of those as from back in the day. But anyway, really good information, in depth, all the details of how Bitcoin in particular works, but obviously, in general, cryptocurrency. Okay, so just another hopefully quick summary. I think this is well over the 8 to 10 minutes I was trying, but at least it's not the 30 to 40, I don't think. But again, leave some comments, subscribe, like, and share. And I think now I'm going to finally launch this channel. I haven't launched it yet because I wanted to wait to get a couple of these videos under my belt. But I think now I'm going to go ahead either tonight or tomorrow. I'll get this video posted, and then I think I'll start sharing this. You'll see if you do, go to this obviously Facebook channel as well as obviously this YouTube channel. Feel free to, of course, friend. That's myself and my fiance. But go ahead and follow this page as well. And like and share this page if you would too, because I'll be posting a lot of material here as well. Okay, well, thanks for your time, and we will look for you on the next episode. Thank you.